going to take you back to the mid-90s, which is a movie that Jonah Hill just made, but sadly wasn't about this experience. So mid-90s, Dangerous Minds had just come out. Lots of small white children in Elyria, Ohio were dancing along to Gangster's Paradise. It was a co-ed party, the first co-ed party I'd ever been to before. It was very exciting. It was my friend Stacy's birthday party. We were 10. It was a very big deal, double digits. That's why the boys and girls are finally getting together. We were 10. And the exciting thing about going to Stacy's party was that the boy coming to the party was a new boy. Brand new boy. Where did he come from? Who knows? The internet hadn't existed, so basically nowhere. He just blipped into the world, and his name was Matt Wallhead. And we were all like, oh God. Because he had a bowl cut, and he was the first person we had ever seen skateboard in real life before. And he brought his skateboard over to Stacy's party, which was kind of dumb because he lived next door. And it was unnecessary. So he was showing off, obviously. And so he had brought a cassette tape of the Blue album by Weezer. Maybe you had heard of it. We hadn't, and we were psyched. New rock and roll. We were ready for it. And so we were so very into it, and there was lots of looking across the room because, again, we were 10. This was new. And so we had this party. It was the summer, and it was the kind of thing where, like, do you remember the summers when you were little and, like, you never saw people again? You'd see somebody once, and then you're like, well, you're not calling on the phone, you're 10. So you're like, see you in a month when school starts. They just, again, blipped in and out of the life, you know? So everybody was like, he's the hottest. And then we all went back to living 3 blocks away and forgetting that he was around. Except that summer, I had also read a little book called Harriet the Spy. And I got really into it. Any other Harriet the Spy fans in the audience? Thank you, ladies. I know, she was a great, strong female character for us. So I really tapped into the whole Harriet the Spy vibe, and I got a little notebook. And this, for everyone who doesn't know Harriet the Spy, she ran around town spying on people and wrote all their secrets down in a notebook. And I was like, you know what? Forget the lesson of this. I'm going to do the same thing. So I had a little notebook, and I made my rounds in the neighborhood, taking notes on what everybody was doing, because it seemed like, what a cool thing to do before 5th grade starts. Where was the first place I wanted to check on? Matt Wallhead's house. So I tiptoed over to Matt Wallhead's house. It was the outdoors. You didn't need to tiptoe. There's lots of outdoor noises. I could have blended in with the lawnmowers. So I went over to Matt Wallhead's house, and I was like, if I hang out around Stacy's backyard, that'll be normal because Stacy and I are friends. Never mind that Stacy wasn't in the backyard with me. It was still suspicious. And I was like, this is a great alibi. I'm 10. So I was doing that. I was like in Stacy's yard. I remember sitting on her swing set, like I'm swinging and writing notes like a normal child does. So I was doing that, and then just like waiting, and like anytime I'd see the Wallheads like doors like open, or like a car would go like, you know, pull up the driveway or leave, I would take a note. Not a good note. I still have these notebooks. I've looked them over. The note would say something like, strange gray car pulling up. It's only strange because I didn't know anything, because I was 10. So everything was just like the lack of details, but just being like, to fill out time, because obviously nothing was happening. There's nothing to spy on. It was Ohio in the summer of '95. Nothing was happening, so I just kept being like, a bird in the sky passes by. Like, oh, I hear someone talking. I wasn't getting hired on any FBI missions after this. But in between those exciting details, I would write things down like, Matt's so cute. I wonder if when we start school, Matt will teach me how to skateboard. And then school started, and I was like, you know what I should do? Bring this to school with me. Because I'll be able to write all kinds of cool, informative notes down while I'm here. And I did that. And the notes said things like, Matt's so smart. He wasn't. There was a day that, because it's not dated, I don't know what happened, but there was a day where I was like, I'm so sick of Matt. And I like to imagine that, like, maybe he gave me a shitty look, so I was just like over it. But I have one page that was just like, he thinks he's so smart. And then the next page is just like, so dreamy, what a bowl cut. So this went on for a couple of months, and then my teacher, 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Gast, which sounds like such a funny name that you want to make fun of, but she was so sweet, so nobody did. She noticed that I wasn't paying attention, because what part of this story makes it sound like I was paying attention in class? Because I was just like, stupid notes that won't make sense later. This is so important for my true love. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing, taking notes on, I don't know, what do you learn in 5th grade? The cotton gin. And she was like, I was like, yeah, taking notes. And she's like, you're definitely not doing that. Hand it over. And all of a sudden I was a magician. Hand what over? I've got nothing. Just like tucked under my butt real quick. And she's like, I know you were doing something. Pull it out right now. And so I did, and then I died, and now I'm a ghost, because that's like the most embarrassing thing that could ever happen to you. I don't think anything worse has actually ever happened to me. No, that's not true. What a crazy lie that would be. Worse things have happened to me, but that was definitely maybe the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me, because I handed it over, and then she had to look at page after page of me just saying, in different words, how cute this boy in my class was. Oh my God, I hate that so much. Oh, I feel like I haven't taken a breath yet, because this is so embarrassing. So I hand this notebook over to her, and she's like, And she's like, well, you're such a great writer. Maybe you'd like to read all of this. Maybe you'd like to read a page or two out loud. And I'm like, yeah, I could definitely do that. Try to cut it off at the pass. Things will be fine if I shout. So I said, yes, of course. And then I pick up the notebook and try to flip to any page that's just me talking about the birds in the sky, since those were a lot of my notes. And I just start winging it. And I'm like, okay, so Katie looks nice today. I saw some stripes on a shirt that I liked. And again, this was lots of times ago, so I wasn't ready to just, go for it on the spot. And she knew that. She knew I wasn't ready, so she was like, no, you have to say what I read about Matt Wallhead in there. And I was like, this is not legal. And she's like, yes, it is. It's the 90s. So then, because I didn't know that you could just say no and walk away, I was like, Matt's cute, and Matt's got a skateboard, and I want to hold hands with Matt. And then that eventually ended after, I think maybe was like a year and a half of me standing up there. And at lunch, he came up to me and he said, that was weird. Why did you do that? And I said, I don't know, I want to learn how to skateboard. And then he was like, I'll teach you after school today if you want to come join me on my paper route. And I said, what the fuck just happened? And then I went with him, and I got on the skateboard, and I fell off the skateboard, and he said, you're an embarrassment. And that was my one and only chance with Matt Wallhead. But the good news is I heard that he's addicted to meth now, so it's fine. I won. I'm Lucé. Thank you very much.